What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Bid Nerd, your daily nerd on the most interesting cars of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. Have you subscribed to this channel? If you have, thanks, man. No, seriously, we really do appreciate all you guys watching the show.
Both of you.
We have a lot of fun making it. It's true. We know that there's only about 4 or 5 people that actually do watch this thing. But hey, you know, we're having fun making it anyway. We get up in the morning, we have some coffee, we fire up the studio, and we do the thing for you. You know, even if that's only a couple of you, we love doing it. And hey, we love hearing from you too. So put some comments down there below. Let us know what you think of the cars that we review here. And also, we want to get your predictions. We want to get you guys interacting more. We kind of want to make this thing sometime in the future. We'd really like to do something regularly where when we make a prediction as what we think the car is going to sell for on its respective auction, we want to start doing something where we give you guys prizes. If you guys are better at it than us, we want to reward that. We want to send you stickers, t-shirts, hats, that kind of stuff. We'll make them if you guys start. If you guys kind of get into it. We'll go ahead and make the stuff. We're just not making the stuff because we don't get enough people, you know, kind of interacting. But I think if we get more people interacting, it makes sense to start doing that. So what do you think? Get in there.
Pick a car and submit a car, because I pick the cars, and as you probably well notice, I pick the same cars all the time.
That's true. We do get we sometimes we can be a bit redundant, but you know, it's just because we're dumb. The most interesting car today, I actually think, is not interesting, but you know, that's okay.
I knew you were going to say that.
What do we got here, Michael Deeb?
JP, it's a 1995 Mercedes Benz C36 offered to us out of, and I'll ask you if you've ever heard of this, West New York, New Jersey. So there's a town in New Jersey called West New York, which seems like it's like from the Department of Redundancy Department. Offered by a dealer called Inbound Motorsport. No, private party. Well, his handle is Inbound Motorsport. But what's interesting about this car, JP, not just that it's a 95 C36, but that it has a ridiculously low 20,000 kilometers, which equates to 13,000 miles on the odometer. This car was imported from Japan earlier this year and looks to be in, I mean, JP, correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you see something. This thing looks like it's in mint condition. It looks like it's just rolled off the showroom floor in a color that Mercedes calls blue black paint, although they say it in German. I won't try to do it in German. This car is an interesting footnote in Mercedes and AMG history. AMG was an independent tuner who liked buying Mercedes-Benz and then take them racing. They famously took their old 300 sedan and stuffed a 6.3-liter motor in there and went sports car racing and beat the vaunted BMW 635 or the predecessor to the M6 all over Europe. That big car, MG got that car to handle and to run and to win. And so MG made quite a name for themselves and began selling tuner parts and aftermarket parts specifically for Mercedes-Benz cars. Mercedes got wise and bought AMG. And the first car they built that Mercedes sold with as an AMG packaged car is this car right here, the 1995 C36. So what does it have? A 3.6-liter inline 6-cylinder motor that makes about 280 horsepower. It runs through a terrible, horrible 4-speed automatic transmission, but it does have like a limited differential. It has sport-tuned suspension. It's those beautiful and now iconic 17-inch AMG monoblock wheels. There's some very subtle lower front valance and side skirts on the car, and a little bit tuned exhaust. It's not a loud car, but it does sound better than a regular C-Class from that era. By today's standards, this is not a high-performance car. Probably drives nice. It would be a great car to commute in. But in this condition and how important this car was to the future of the partnership between Mercedes and AMG, the way Mercedes acquired them and now markets the hell out of them. So JP, I think it's impossible today to drive by a Mercedes Benz dealership where you don't see the big AMG logo plastered across the facade of the building. Certainly the AMG division of Mercedes is and they publicize it everywhere. This car represents the beginning of that relationship. Now it's interesting, have been driven to the ground and they're not worth any money, but this one is in supercollector condition. That being said, I still don't think it's going to bring big money here today, but I think a savvy collector would buy this car and put it away, because someday down the road this car is going to get its due, and this is the nicest one I've ever seen.
Well, how much? What are we looking at? How much time is left on this auction, and what's it at right now?
Yeah, so John, with 3 days to go, the car is only at $9,900.
Wow.
And what's amazing is all the money for one of these things is $30,000, which is nothing really. And I don't even know if this car will bring that, even though it only has 16,000 miles, because it wasn't originally sold in the U.S. So have you ever driven one, JP? Do you like?
I have. Cars? I actually do really like this car. I was kidding at the beginning.
Yeah.
I thought they all had the carbon fiber on the B pillar, or was that the next year?
No, they probably did, but this was a Japanese car.
Japanese car. Okay, so it didn't have that. Yeah, no. I remember when these came out, just being really intrigued by them and driving. And I got to drive one. I had a super douchebag business partner that had one, and that was the only good thing about that guy, was his car was kind of cool. I would drive one of these today. This would be like, if you could get this car for a decent value, and if the miles are low. We say this a lot about different cars that we review that might be older or classic or something like that. This car sits right there in that in between. It's not so old that that you have to deal with classic car stuff. Like a lack of creature comforts or safety, but it's not new enough to be kind of like lame. Because let's face it, that's the problem with most new AMGs. They make, all the Mercedes that have the AMG badge are usually really whiz bang and just way over designed and way too much ridiculousness to them, even if they are fast and all the fun stuff. They're usually too much. This car kind of, it was the end of that era when Mercedes was still making cars that were like kind of, even though they were very luxurious, the design sensibilities were still somewhat minimalist. They weren't so dang whiz bang. At some point in the mid-aughts, designers started getting paid by the radius. If they could find a curve or a bend or something like that, they'd get a bonus.
It always cracks me up when you say that, because it's so true.
Right? I mean, look at this dash. It's just so simple and clean and easy to understand. There's no big stupid computer. That's the thing I hate about modern cars, is everything's just like, how many iPads can we smash in here now too? So I've kind of been sitting on this interior. This is a place I'd like to hang out and be, and the car drives brilliantly. Is it a sports car? No, because it's, I don't hate that transmission. It's not a sports transmission. It's just, these cars just feel like a solid hunk of steel. They feel great. I love this era of Mercedes.
Yeah, this car was all about the motor, really. Essentially what you were paying a premium to get 50% more horsepower out of the same block. And then little exhaust, some subtle wheel and suspension upgrades. This car will not beat you up around town, and probably drives brilliantly out on the road. I mean, you could cruise in this, John. Like, if you were taking the car from Vegas to head out to LA for whatever reason, God, come on, can you imagine 130 miles an hour with your elbow out the window and your single finger at the 9 o'clock position, and this car straight as an arrow? You know what I mean?
Just effortless, smooth as can be. Yeah, that's what this car is for, and kind of unassuming. Nowadays the AMGs are just like screaming at you, "Look at me, I'm AMG! Oh my God, I'm AMG! Oh, just please look at me, please." It's like they're just begging for attention. It's kind of embarrassing. This car represents a different era, and I love it. I absolutely love it. All
right.
Okay, so how much is it going to sell for?
Concourse value on these cars is only $30,000. I think this car should bring it. I actually think this car should bring $36,000.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was imported from Japan might scare some people off. The blue-black paint, even though I like it, I know that that's not the color everybody else wants. Mostly scarlet black or whatever. I still think this car is going to do well. I believe in it. It's the nicest one I've seen, and it's one that should be put away and brought back out when people start to care about the model. I'm going to go $28,000 and send it back to you, JP. Where are you at?
Yeah, I think it's going to struggle to even break 20. I'll go 21 just
Wow,
to narrow it
so
down.
smart. I was hoping I'd draw you up, but yeah, you might be right.
Just a beautiful car, and if it's lower than that, boy, this is something you might have to bid on.
Oh,
I mean, our good friend Rami just got his 993 RS, and that car he bought out of the UK, but the car was imported or was originally exported to Japan, so it was a Japan market car. So that car and this car, if you had the two-car solution, we'll play the game that our friends at DWA always like to play. Two cars only.
Man, oh man, you can't. I can
fit all the people and the stuff in the back of this one, and then just have the and just eat up any. Yeah, this I really like this car. This makes me want to go look for one of these, because this one's really cool with as few miles it has on it, and I think that will probably bring a premium. I'm pretty bearish right now on the market in general, so I'm bidding pretty low, but because I think mid-20s is a premium, or will be the new premium for something like this. But if you could get one with 80,000 miles on it for for 15 grand or something like that, I think
you can. You absolutely can. Yeah, it's crazy. They're out there.
What a great car to have every day. What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments below. Do you think our numbers are way off? You think you're better at this than we are? Then let's put your money, or at least your comments, where your mouth is, and we'll find out right after this. Hey guys, I'm super excited to tell you about our sponsor, Guys Customs. That's Guys, GYX _customs. That's how you spell it. Guys Customs bracelets. These things are amazing. Check them out. They're handmade in America, custom bracelets made to match your watch or your car. These things are unbelievable. I have 3 or 4 of them myself. My partner Michael Deeb has a bunch of them. They're pretty addictive once you get one. Each one of them are bespoke. We're talking carbon fiber. We're talking titanium. We're talking stainless steel, glass. There's none of this cheap Chinese garbage that you see a lot of bracelets being made out there. These ones are super high quality. They're made right here in America. When you go to Guys Customs on Instagram, it's about the only place that you can order one of these. When you DM the artist, you're actually reaching the real artist when you DM Guys Customs at Instagram. And she will make you a bracelet made to match that special watch, that special car, or that special person that has a special watch or a special car, and they want something really, really cool in their life. They make the most amazing gifts. I get compliments on mine all the time. Everywhere I go, people are like, wow, that's really cool. You can see in the pictures, these beads, the colored beads, are PTS. They're paint to sample. So if you have a specific color code for your car, she'll have beads made that are specifically painted to match your car or your watch. It's unbelievable. You got to get one of these Guys Customs bracelets. Check them out. They support us, and we really, really, really want to support them. Guys Customs bracelets. All right, let's get back to the bids. Let's find out how much that car sold for today. All right, turns out there is a tomorrow. The world hasn't ended, so we are in the future. That's the trouble with going into having time travel. You don't know if there's going to be a nuclear war in the future. So, you could get into your DeLorean, hit, a couple days ahead these days, and you could, just beam yourself right into the hotter than the sun, into the radiation cloud that is Las Vegas. We are just a couple miles away from a what do you call it? An Air Force base here. So I'm happy in knowing that if the bombs start flying, we won't. I don't. Do you want to survive a nuclear holocaust, or do you want to just be done? Right? Ground zero is where it's at. So
as much as you're near an active military base, I'm right on top of Silicon Valley. I'm out minute one.
Well, here's the thing about the way the nuclear arsenal is set up. The way all this stuff works is it's all like redundancy, right? There's, it only takes 100 or so big nukes to pretty much end all life on the planet. But the way the system is set up is that there's not enough targets to go around for all the warheads. So if for some reason you're like near a target and the bomb goes off and you somehow survive, you have like a lead shield or something like that, and you're like, oh, it went off, okay, we're good, I'm going to come back. Well, guess what? There are 30 more coming. They're just going to be nuking craters after craters after craters. It's just like it's crazy. So
Silicon Valley also sits on a fault line. So if 30 nukes hit Silicon Valley, California will fall into the ocean, which will make so now everybody in Arizona is like, nuke them.
See, I am, let's like the Lex Luthor plan. I think that Putin, if you're smart, don't nuke the center of America, just hit the coasts, and then we'll have some great waterfront property that you can come hang out at here in Las Vegas. And I think that's an excellent plan.
Totally.
Plan for the future. All right, so that's a future I want to get in my DeLorean and find out about. This car. So what happened with this Mercedes? Not really
JP,
much of a super car, but
first
nice
of all,
car. What happened?
You had arguably one of our biggest spreads, $7,000 on this car was the spread between us. I said $28,000. You said 21. Now, again, this car originated in Japan. It was not a domestic car, but it's super low miles, and I thought it would do well, and it did not. Our car failed to sell, JP, at $21,050, meaning you missed a Yahtzee by $50.
$50, people.
Failed to sell on 27 bids, so there's good action on the car, but not good value. I think a car like this reflects the conversation we've been having about the economy rather than about the car itself, because I've never seen as low a mile C36 in as nice a condition as this one, and it didn't even make my bid at 28, which I thought was conservative. In my opinion, this should be a $40,000 to $50,000 car, and it didn't even bring half that. So I really do think this result is a reflection of the entry level collector car market, because this is not some blue chip collectible, even though I think it has a high upside. This is just one of those cars nobody needs, and it's also one of those cars that's got so low miles somebody wouldn't even just snap it up and start driving it, because then you would ruin the value. So this car fits in a really in-between gray area of collector market and had a very poor result even on Bring a Trailer. The platform didn't help it either. So very strange to see this one. Absolutely a reflection of the conversation you've been generating over the last couple of weeks. Do you agree with what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, this car just isn't that special. It's a great car. We talked about that over the break, and I'm sitting here looking at something like this going, this is the car, honestly, that I want going into maybe a period that we're talking about. Like right now, our daily driver is a Macan, right? It's a beautiful, wonderful car, but that car is going to take a complete-ish in value. That car is going to depreciate like any Audi has ever depreciated, right? I mean, it's just like, we've had this weird period for the last couple of years where cars haven't been depreciating because there have been supply chain issues. But there's been lots of liquidity, lots of money out there, and so the demand is high, but the supply hasn't been there. Well, now we're going to see some demand drop, and supply isn't going to be there. This is actually something that I would like. I want this car. If I could convince my wife, I want to basically get rid of the Macan and get something like this that I know is going to be just a great car, looks great, drives great. And isn't going to cost a whole lot to keep on the road because it has so few miles, and just drive this for the next couple of years. And this is the type of thing that you can really roll through the apocalypse with. Totally. And I obviously I'm kidding about apocalypse, but I mean, if we think there's going to be a rough spot in the economy, you want something like this that's just going to be, it's not really worth all that much, and it's going to go down in value, but if things bounce back, it'll be still, it may come up because it does have some kind of cool collector cachet, but it's also a car that's just never going to really, this thing's never going to be off the chain. This car is never
No.
going to be something that a ton of people want, but it's just a great car to enjoy and have in pairing with something like a classic 911 or something like that. Look at those sports seats in the back too.
So sick. Power overslide. JP, this is a car that you come out of a turn, hit the gas in like second gear, and that rear end is just gonna just gently slide out and drift. I actually think this would be a fun little car to drive, like surprising in what it can can do.
Are the seats like your 190 Cosworth?
No.
Do they bounce up and down, or they actually hold you in there?
No, my 190 are vintage Recaros that are sprung. It literally it's a metal frame with springs everywhere. And the seats in my car look pretty and are terrible. They offer no lateral support. The seats in this are not done by Recaro. They're beautifully over bolstered. They hold you in place really nice. They're like BMW sports seats or Cayenne sports seats. They're just really nice. I think you'd love this car. The steering wheel is also really thick. And everything in the car feels like it's chiseled from one chunk of metal. It's again completely over-engineered, stiff chassis. Super fun car to drive, even if it's uninspiring. It would just be better than you think.
Yeah, this is one of those times where I kind of wish BAT were more a little bit like P-Car, where they had a deal tank. Is there a way to reach out and still get a hold of this car? Would you pay a couple grand more than this thing went up to? And the big question is would the seller buy it? What do you think the reserve on this thing was? If this guy had a $30,000 reserve, then he's stuck with it. If he thought he was going to nail it here. What do you guys think about the results of this auction? Let us know in the comments below. Hit the subscribe, like, and notification button if you haven't already. And we're going to find the most interesting car of the day tomorrow. And I guess we'll just go with a theme if there is a tomorrow.